Okay, well, I will go ahead and call this meeting to order. Welcome to our February commission meeting. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking time out of your busy day to talk about things that we love so much, which is our library. All right. Do I have, I will entertain a request to approve the minutes from our January 4th meeting. Do I have a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion.
And I'll second.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All approved? Say aye. Any opposed? Great. Minutes are approved as submitted. Are there any requests for continuance? Okay. How about any non-agenda public comment? All right. I think we are ready. I see we have Miss Joan Reese here for our Friends of the Library report. Hi, Joan. How are you? Thank you for joining us.
Hi, it's good to be here. I am filling in for Ann McDonald, who I hope is traveling at the moment. She's actually not feeling too well last night, so I'm hoping that she actually was able to get off on this long planned trip. Anyway, so I'm giving this report on behalf of Ann, and I'd like to report that the Friends of the San Diego Public Library had another successful book sale at our University Heights site a couple of weeks ago, our January sale. It's been a year since we were able to reopen our book sale after the pandemic-related closure of 2 full years, and each month seems to be better than the last. So we hope that trend continues. We continue to recruit and train new volunteers who help with all aspects of our book sale operation. We also, our friends, members and leaders have continued to participate in the library master plan listening sessions at various branch libraries. And our members are also engaged in library advocacy and are currently sending postcards to our city council members and the mayor to urge support for our library system's priorities for the 23-24 budget year. We're continuing the monthly Friends meetings at the Mission Valley Branch Library. These have been held as hybrid meetings the last few months, and this helps enable members to attend and participate. We've actually had people recovering from COVID, recovering from surgery, who were able to be part of the meeting. So it's been a real boon. The new OWL video conferencing device, which the library has made available, has allowed us to optimize the technical quality and meeting experience for both in-person and virtual attendees. So that's been a real help. We've used that now for 2 meetings, and we think we have we've figured out what all the right settings are to make it work. I just want to announce that applications for the John McAllister Memorial Library Scholarship will be available within the next month or so for library employees who would like help in pursuing degrees or certificates in library science or related fields. We're quite proud of our role in helping library staff advance in their careers. And we've been pleased to see that a number of past McAllister Scholarship recipients have gone on to become librarians at the branches and Central Library. Some are currently serving as branch managers and YSLs. And a few, I was really pleased to see on the latest directory of staff have very recently been promoted to positions. So we're really glad. It's sort of like being a parent and watching your kids succeed. It's been really gratifying for us to see that, and so we always appreciate the support of the library administration in helping us get the word out to potential future scholarship recipients. And please know that you are invited to our next book sale on February 18th and 19th, a Saturday and Sunday at our University Heights location. Thank you very much.
Great report, Joan. Thank you for pinch hitting. And it's like you've never left, past President Reese. Joan, how many years have you been volunteering with the Friends?
Oh gosh, I started in
Long time.
2003 in Scripps Ranch, and I can't remember at what point I became a director of the Greater Friends,
Love
but
it.
it's been quite a while. Yeah.
You can never leave. Thank you for filling in for Anne, and thank you for all of your continued work on the Friends. I think Joan is just still so immediate past president, but still so very involved. So what a great report. And I love the feedback also on the OWL. I know as everyone is looking to going back in person, but we love this hybrid option. What is the right technology? So that's the second time I've heard about the OWL technology. So that is on a wonderful note. Thank you for sharing that little piece as well. Great report, Joan. Thank you. All right, now let's move over to our foundation report. Welcome, Patrick, and thank you, Charlie, and all of our friends at the foundation. Patrick.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I too am looking forward to seeing you all in person. I think, what is that, March 1st, upstairs. It'll be fantastic. So yeah, a couple of quick things. One, as Joan alluded to, obviously advocacy is one of the key components of the work that the foundation does, along with the Commission and the Friends. And this year's budget season was a little different than years past. And just for those of you that are new, just to let you know how that works. So for example, Misty and her team and myself and a few other people will meet and talk about some specific budget priorities for the coming year. And then Charlie and I draft a budget priority letter on behalf of our Libraries Transform SD Coalition, which are you all, the Friends, and the Foundation. And I send those personally to each one of our council members. And they put together a first pass at their budget priorities. I'm sure everybody in San Diego is setting them budget priorities. Here's how we expect to see your investments in the community this coming year. And the independent budget analyst publishes a first draft. And then after that, depending on sort of the outcomes, we will quickly scramble and have some in-person or virtual meetings or whatever with the council members. And this fall, late fall, early winter, there were really two outliers. And so we were quickly able to, and of course, one of them being a new council member, Kent Lee. And so we're able to meet with them and then they resubmit new budget priorities to the independent budget analyst office. And pleased to report that the analysis from the IBA's office that came out last week, as for, I believe, the second year in a row, maybe the third, I think it's the second year in a row, all 9 city council members have included the library in their budget priority memos. Many of them literally copied and pasted just what we put in there. Again, a reminder, $670,000+ so that there is a YSL at every branch. $500,000 maintenance line for the library. The library currently doesn't have its own maintenance line. An additional money to go towards books, materials, resources. We remain one of the systems that is woefully underfunded as compared to some of our larger metropolitan counterparts. And then if so moved, in addition to the match. Like I said, many of them just copied and pasted, and 7 of 9 included everything other than the YSL. So you can tell that'll be our priority for our next visits with those 2 council members. But very, very pleased to report that the library system was favorably received. And so thank you to Wendy and all of you on the commission, and Joan and Ann and every one of the Friends. It takes a group effort, and we still have a lot of work to do. Part of the other thing that we've been doing is either hosting a reception before, or during the pandemic, we've been hosting a virtual watch party for the mayor's State of the City address. And so we did that again a couple of weeks ago. If you have not seen that, you're able to view that on our YouTube channel. I'm saying, Charlie, we're just going to say yes. On our YouTube channel, it also includes some remarks with Joan, Wendy, and I beforehand, and then a quick response afterwards. And then wanted to, I know Misty's going to chat about the library master plan engagement listening sessions, but do want to invite any of you to come and participate in one or more. The schedule is up on the city's website, on the library's website. So come and join us. The conversations have been really great. And then I wanted to share with you, I think I might have mentioned it last month, we were in the middle of our year-end appeal, fundraising appeal. And this is the time where we raise unrestricted money from the community to support the work that you do. And, you know, for example, one of the things that I'm really excited about, we just sent a bunch of money over to get that micro business center started. We've been talking about that for a while. And it's the kind of thing that not only supports emerging entrepreneurs and business members here in the community, but also creates collaborations and connections with partners like SCORE and San Diego Workforce Partnership and the Volunteer Lawyers Association. So it brings all of these other really great organizations and entities into the library and interacting with library patrons. So it was very successful. And I wanted to share with you a couple of quotes. People love to say why they are supporting the library. So I wanted to share a couple with you if you didn't mind. The local public library was very important to me as a child and remained so throughout my life. This is my payback for that gift. I could not exist without books, DVDs, and CDs from my local library. Thank you for helping me live. Wish I could give more. I hope this helps. I very much appreciate the library and all that you do. Libraries are a safe haven for everyone. Let's provide the needed resources for them to thrive. My wife and I are both educators and have always valued books and libraries. Libraries are key to maintaining our democracy. And then my favorite one is a library is a key to the universe. So they just went big with that one. So with that, thank you all again for all the work that you do, and happy to support as with anything. Just feel free to get in touch anytime. Any questions or thoughts that you might have.
Great report, Patrick. I love those testimonials. We couldn't have written that from a marketing standpoint.
A library is the key to the universe. So
That's
wow,
brilliant. That's brilliant.
love it.
Just a note of appreciation, really, to the foundation. And I just want to kind of amplify and elevate and congratulate the foundation to have 9 city council members included in their memos. And for those of us that have been around a long time, it was not always this way. And so there was a strategic and concerted effort by the foundation, by Libraries Transform, to really put money, time, and effort towards advocacy. And it's really spearheaded by the foundation, but also the friends coming together and the commission and everyone writing postcards and showing up at budget hearings and writing, all of that. It's amazing. So I just wanted to acknowledge everyone for their joint efforts, and it just doesn't happen. So congratulations, Patrick, and thank you to Charlie and Jenna for always making me sound smarter than I really am. When like, here, we're drafting a letter. I'm like, okay, I have like 4 little edits, and then it's great. So I just want to give props where props are due. So great report. Thank you, Patrick. All right, moving forward to our consent agenda. And you're welcome, Charlie.
Oh,
Well, moving forward to our consent agenda, and I don't know if Raul is on today.
Raul is skiing, and he keeps sending us pictures of him skiing, so to make us
I'm
jealous.
so glad he's not zooming in from the slope.
Yes.
Someone has to be there. So Misty, thank you for giving Raul's a very important and exciting report.
Yes, absolutely. So you do have in your packet kind of the updates, but I wanted to add a couple of things. The Oak Park Library, the request for proposals the scope is being determined now, and then we're going to be sending out the request for proposal in probably mid to late spring, and getting those back, and hopefully setting up the design or the community voting process in the summer. So that Oak Park Library, the Friends of the Library and the community are putting together a little building committee to help us work on that. But as you may remember, this is going to be a design-based competition, so community-based design competition. So the two firms that have submitted will submit their designs, and then the community votes on what design they like best for the library. So that's going to be, that is moving along. We also just learned about a year ago, we got some money from Ben Hueso's office to rehabilitate the old Logan Heights Library. So the little bitty biblioteca that is just down the street from the new library. It's about 4,000 square feet, very small, has been empty and unoccupied since the new Logan opened in 2009. And it was going to be rehabilitated for community use. And they did a number of different community forums and talked to the community to see what they wanted to see in that space. It has come back that they would like to see a space for teens, like to see a space for technology, and they are also interested in having a community garden there. Now, the mayor, initially we thought that we would do an RFP and have an outside organization come in and run that. And now the mayor would like to keep that as a city asset and have a city department run that. So we're looking at, can the library department, probably in partnership with the Parks and Recreation Department, create programming for that space? It'll be a little while down the road, probably 2025, 26 before it's open. Still have some community feedback to do, but just want to put that on your radar that that will be an additional location that we will have some programming in for the community. So that's kind of exciting. I know Addie, as her old stomping ground, she's very excited about it and is already making plans. So that is the capital projects update. Let me just keep going. Okay. So the
Can I just ask a question, Misty,
Yeah.
real quick about the Logan Heights Library and that space? How much was allocated from then Senator Hueso for that? And did the mayor allocate any additional funding towards this project?
So it's just $3.5 million from Hueso's office. So that is not going to cover it, right? I mean, it needs some.
I mean, the capital itself, just the improvements are massive.
And it really, that $3.5 million is really going to cover basically kind of just rehabbing, but not doing anything, you know, any kind of new. So it does give us an opportunity. We've already put it on the mayor's radar. His office is already looking into federal grant money or other potential grant. They just needed to have a scope of work and what was going to be programmed in that space in order to be able to allocate or go out and look for additional funding. But I feel like, you know, if it's a partnership between the library and Parks and Recreation, there's some different pools of funding. Parks, you know, Parks and Rec has avenues of different funding. We do. I think that we can come together and create something really, really beneficial for the community.
And when are those community input meetings happening, and where are they happening?
So there's going to be one on February 13th and on February 15th, and I will make sure I will send those out to you. Yeah, absolutely.
Great questions. Thank you.
Okay. So I did do I'm getting better at my director's report. That was my New Year's resolution, is to make sure I get it on time. Trisha's keeping me on task. Just a couple of things I just want to just reiterate. The hiring process, we're waiting on personnel right now to give us permission to make appointments or to make offers on the selections that we made for the last hiring process. So as soon as we get that back, then we're going to be, we selected for almost all of the vacant positions that we had. So I'm hopeful that people are going to accept those. That's been our obstacle. By the time we get around to making offers, people have other jobs because it takes us so long to do the hiring process. So I'm really hopeful that we're going to get the majority of those filled, and then that's really going to inform us on when we can start restoring Sunday hours. We're aiming to restore Sunday hours in the March to April timeframe. It really depends on how many of these positions we get filled. We may need to roll that out slowly. The preference was to just reopen all 13 at the same time, but we may need to do a phased rollout depending, but I'll keep you updated on that process. Also-
Congratulations, Misty. on
Yeah,
getting I mean, and to your staff as well. That is a big,
It's
that's a
long
big
haul.
process, lots of vacancies. So
Yeah. It's
fingers
been a
crossed
long
moving
haul.
forward. Yeah, no, that's, I mean, that's awesome.
Also, security, I wanted to just kind of expand on what I put in my report. So we've been seeing a lot of encampments, a lot of drug use, a lot of vandalism and things going on around the Central Library. As you know, we have E3 High School. E3 Civic High is in the building. It creates huge issues for them as well. The city has begun enforcing encampments again. So they laid off of that during COVID. So we really struggled because we didn't have, there was no, you couldn't make people move and you couldn't enforce encampments or loitering and things like that. So they have started that again. We've gotten assistance from PD to really clean it up outside. So we have gone back to what we were doing pre-COVID, which is you are welcome to come into the building. You're welcome to use the library, but you cannot hang out around the perimeter of the library. You can't camp, you can't sleep, you can't set up your chairs or your tents. We really need to keep that clear. It kind of came to a head a couple of weeks ago. I had gone to lunch with someone across the street at the Mission, had to walk out in the street to walk over there because there were so many people under the overhang that I could not even walk down the sidewalk. And then I had an instance where there was an elderly man with a walker that also had to walk out in the street because he could not get down the sidewalk. So we are, I've instructed our guards to be really aggressive in making sure that you move people along. Tell them they can come into the library, but they can't loiter or camp around the building. So it's been working. If you come down, it is a lot clearer, a lot cleaner. So it is working now. What happens is when we move it, then it kind of moves around the corner. So it's on the back side of the auditorium, but that's the public sidewalk and is not enforceable by our library security or the library department. So then that becomes SDPD that needs to look at that. So it's an uphill battle, but we're doing what we can to try to clear it up and make sure that this is a safe and inviting environment for everyone. The other thing that we have our executive budget review on February 14th. Patrick mentioned a few things that are in the budget asks, and that is the youth services librarian to have a youth services librarian. We have 8 locations that do not have a full-time YSL. So it's asking for those 8 locations to have a full-time youth librarian. We are also asking for additional personnel to support the SD Access for All and the digital navigation program that we have. We have a number, this is an internship right now, and they are limited to, Curtis, is it a year?
Yeah, so well, there's 2 kind of aspects to it. Some of them are limited to 6 months, and then there's others limited to a year, but they're also limited on the number of hours they can work a week. So that kind of hurts us as well.
Yeah. So it's been a struggle, and it's been, and it's such an invaluable service. And in these master plan sessions, we are hearing over and over again that people want tech assistance, that they want tech help, that they want somebody there that can help them, show them how to use their iPhone or show them how to do. So we're trying to beef this up and have some permanent staff that are able to provide these services, because digital equity is a huge initiative for the city, but we need the support and the resources in order to be able to accomplish that. Also adding the personnel for Pacific Highlands Ranch. Pacific Highlands Ranch has a structure up. They're starting to pour the concrete in a couple of weeks. So that one's going to be here before we know it. So we want to get the staff on board for that library position. And then a lot of things are just kind of right siding. So it's adding security budget to make sure that we're able to maintain janitorial budget and things like that. So, but I will bring back as soon as our, in March, I will bring you back what our final approved budget asks will be for council. I think Shauna had a question.
Hi, so I'm reporting to you live from UC San Diego. And so I was just wondering around the internships, how I could be supportive. Because I was literally just talking to a president of a tech club at UCSD. So and was coming in hot to this person. So I think that they would be willing to help. So I just was wondering if I could be, if you could share any information about how to get involved. I also work closely with our academic internship programs. And so
Absolutely. Absolutely, Shauna. We will send you the information. So the city has the Employ and Empower program. So we have a number of internships, internship opportunities, but also we could really use help recruiting for positions. So that is huge. So if you have students or, interns there that would like to have a, job, we can definitely use. So we will send you some information. Thank you so much.
Love it. I love the collaboration. Wonderful, wonderful offer, and excited. I love your energy around it too.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Oh yeah, thank you, Sarah. If you could do USD, I mean, we really need to diversify our recruiting. We really need to get the word out. Our personnel department has, I think I've said this before, very traditionally has, just posted things on NeoGov and not done like a huge recruitment effort. And we're really trying to diversify that and get the word out to more people for these jobs. So
Yeah.
that'd
Thank
be
you,
very
Shauna and
helpful.
Sarah. That's awesome.
The other one is I do have a Steve Roman is on the line, and he has an ask for any interested commissioners. Steve?
Great. Thank you, Misty. And thank you all for inviting me. Again, my name is Steve Roman, and I work in the humanities section of the Central Library. As you may know, we're preparing for our annual short story contest. This will be our 6th year hosting the contest. And this year, we'd like to increase the number of stories we can accept from 50 to 75 stories this year. But to do that, we'll need at least 25 judges to dedicate some of their time to reading and considering the stories. We'd like to make sure that each story gets 2 passes, so that over the course of the 8-week judging period, each judge would need to consider 6 stories total. We will begin accepting submissions on March 6th, and then we will do the judging all the way through April. We were wondering if any of the commissioners would be willing to volunteer some of their time to be judges this year. If you need to think about it and check your schedules, I'll put my email address in the chat window so you can contact me at your leisure. But if you're ready to commit now, please go ahead and get me your name and email address, and I'll add you to our list. So thank you very much for your time. Any questions?
Steve, can you just talk a little bit more about the time commitment, and is it how will people be? I think you said at least 6 stories. Are they just reviewing them digitally? Are you having in-person meetings, Zoom meetings? Are there dates that people need to be made available? I think this is probably a really great group to be asking because of their interest. But on that note, I know it's the group of the overcommitted.
Sure.
So I think that question would be, what's the time commitment? Are there exact dates? And I could be making assumptions, but.
No, thank you. Like I said, we'll begin accepting submissions on March 6th, and usually we fill up within an hour. We get all the submissions we can handle. So then I'll probably start sending them out the next week. Once we've sorted through them all, I will send them by email. They'll be basically PDF or Word documents. They're not going to be more than 3,000 words each, so only a couple, maybe 6 pages each. A little more than that because they're double spaced. I take that back, but they're only 3,000 words each. And so if I would send them out like in a batch of 3 of the first batch and give you like a week or 2 to go through those, and then I'll send out the second batch after that. So it shouldn't be too much of a time commitment.
Great. Thank you for clarifying. Sounds exciting. So, and you, I think, put your info in the chat.
Yes,
Email sroman@sandiego.gov. Great. Thank you for sharing that.
thank you very much.
Hey,
Thank you, Steve.
My pleasure.
And that's all I have for my update, Wendy, unless anybody has any questions.
any questions for Misty? Great report, Misty. Now it looks like we have some special guests and special presentations, always the highlight. Not that everything else isn't fabulous, but Misty, would you like to introduce our guests?
Yeah, so I want to introduce you to Amanda Lors. She is our programming librarian. She is in the division of DICE, which I always can't remember what it stands for.
Department of Innovation
Community
and Community Engagement.
Innovation and Community Engagement, DICE. So she works for Oscar and Joe Meisner, but she has been doing a series of programs on the birds and the bees. And so she is here to tell you about that. Turn it over to you, Amanda.
Thanks, Misty. Let me get my presentation ready. All right, as Misty said, my name is Amanda Lorge. I'm STPL's adult programming librarian. And today I'm going to be discussing a program I implemented as a sciences librarian at the Central Library. So Birds and the Bees, an inclusive sex education series, is a program that ran here from July of 2022 through last month. So sex ed in libraries sounds like a very controversial idea, but this is something I'm really passionate about for a few reasons. And a lot of my ideas for this program came from the inclusive and sex positive sex education that my friends and I got at different colleges. I think it's really important to provide programming like that at a public library because the members of the population who need that education most are not likely to have access to a college campus where they can learn about sex in a safe and non-judgmental environment. For example, LGBTQIA plus individuals are more likely than other subgroups of the population to become homeless or lose financial and other forms of support due to their parents or their families not approving of their identity. Also, as a sciences program, I wanted to address a knowledge gap in San Diego. So sex education in San Diego high schools is actually really great compared to how it used to be. But a lot of our patrons didn't necessarily go to high school super recently and not even necessarily in San Diego or at all. And although things have improved, there's still a lot of topics that aren't addressed. And sex seems like a interesting and a cutting edge topic for library programs. But really my reasoning for wanting this program was just like boring librarian stuff like information gaps in our community. And I also thought this was a really great program to start when I did because now more than ever, our community needs information on taking care of their physical and mental well-being. So we had two main partners for the program. Planned Parenthood, you're probably familiar with. We've partnered with them before, so it was really easy to bring them on board for this. And they already provide free community education. So they basically just gave us a menu of topics and we were able to pick from that. And then we brought on a new partner for this program. So UCSD's SWAG, or Sexual Wellbeing and Gender Lab. They're directed by Dr. Janet Dickinson, and their mission is to increase sexual literacy and sexual well-being in and around the UCSD community. And they provided 2 programs, and they also recommended our last 2 speakers. These were the programs we provided. Dr. Dickinson from the SWAG Lab spoke on mindfulness and sexuality, and student researchers provided a workshop on sexual orientation and fluidity. Amanda Chavez from Planned Parenthood of the Southwest covered 3 topics, focusing more on physical health information, and Doug Braun-Harvey spoke about the importance of having open and shame-free conversations about sex. And for our most recent program, last month, we had Stacy T. Watnick speak about making sense of your sexual self. And I have some of her slides to share some examples of what we covered. So this is a slide that she gave us on biopsychosocial identity that you can take a look at. Something I really loved about her presentation is at the beginning, she listed what topics were going to be covered and encouraged patrons to be gentle with themselves. So I think that was a great preparation for the controversially or potentially uncomfortable topics. And she also discussed accelerators and brakes, which are things that increase or decrease desire. I really loved that part of this she discussed was how quarantine was an accelerator for a lot of people being at home and around their partners so often, but it was also a break for a lot of people who felt the exposure to other people, to that person, was too much, or they were stressed by having kids at home, or just the general stress of the pandemic. So I really loved that she addressed and normalized what was a difficult aspect of quarantine and the pandemic for a lot of people. And this topic also brought up great points during the Q&A period after, where people learned and sort of talked through the idea that basically anything at all could be an accelerator or a break for any person. And the only way you can know for sure is to communicate. And she also talked about the importance of consent and what consent can mean beyond just a yes or a no. So these were definitely the highlights of our program. Our speakers did a great job of engaging patrons using interactive exercises. For example, Dr. Dickinson led a mindfulness exercise where audience members were encouraged to taste raisins and focus on the sensations when they're being mindful versus when they weren't. And another highlight of the program was the fresh content. So our speakers did an amazing job of bringing fresh and new ideas on each of these topics. But I think what really made these programs so great was our patrons. The audience at each session was really respectful and they were engaged in the conversation. Lots of people asked questions about the speakers, and a lot of patrons were really vulnerable and they shared experiences and issues. And it meant a lot to me that our patrons felt like this was a safe environment for them to discuss things like trauma and identity. So of course, another highlight of the program that patrons loved was receiving books for free that allowed them to learn more about these topics at home. We passed out copies of Emily Nagoski's Come As You Are at our first event, which was really popular with patrons. And this was also recommended by basically all of our speakers as an excellent book on this topic. And we were also able to give out copies of Pleasure Activism at our last two programs, which was recommended by multiple speakers as well. So while Come As You Are and some of the other books were focused on like personal sexual well-being, Pleasure Activism is great because it focuses more on the social and benefits and intersectionality of sex positivity. So patrons really appreciated that they could take these home and then learn more about each topic on their own. So here are some statistics from the project outcomes survey results we collected. After attending these programs, 94% of participants felt more knowledgeable about the health topic presented. 93% intend to apply what they learned to adopt or maintain a healthier lifestyle. 90% felt more confident about taking care of their family's health, and 90% were more aware of health-related resources at the library. So I wanted to provide this program to give patrons better access to information about health and well-being. So I was really happy to see such positive results from the patrons about their health. And then these are just some of the answers we got from the open-ended survey questions. Patrons were very happy with the interactive nature of each of the speaker events. I love that they expressed that the environment was comfortable and used words like community, making it clear that this was a safe environment for them. And several patrons mentioned the program being free or easily accessible, demonstrating that there is a need for inclusive sex education in a more accessible environment than is currently available to most people. We got a lot of responses to this question, like more sex ed programs, more sex talk, and more of it. Several patrons also expressed appreciation for our speakers and partners for being confident, knowledgeable, engaging, and creating a comfortable environment. And at the most recent program, there was a patron who even insisted on being added to our newsletter email list because he didn't want to miss any more programs like this from the library. So after our initial program series run, these are just some ideas that I would like to see for Birds and the Bees for the future. I would love to bring Swag Lab on as a partner for all of the branches so that they can provide workshops really easily on inclusive sex education, and the student workshops are free. It's something that they just provide as part of their mission. So I think that would make them an awesome partner for us. I would love to provide a teen-friendly version of the program, which is something that staff members have already expressed interest in. And my dream would be to someday be able to have a larger author event for Birds and the Bees. As I mentioned, Dr. Nagoski's work and Come As You Are were highly recommended by our speakers. So my dream would be to have like a bigger author event as part of this kind of programming. And I also think it would be a good idea to have resource fairs before or in conjunction with our speaker events. So those are just some of my ideas that I think would work out, but I would love to hear any other ideas or feedback or questions.
Wow. Amanda, what a wonderful presentation. I had the opportunity of looking at the chat while you were speaking, and thank you to all of our guests and commissioners for the incredible feedback and positive comments. First of all, that happens to be the most beautiful PowerPoint and graphics I think I've ever seen, which is very engaging and catches your eye. But incredible. I was just taking notes of being gentle with yourself, and something that some could see as a delicate topic or something that's difficult to talk about, making it open and accessible and positive. Absolutely incredible. Congratulations. My goodness. Yes, more please. More please. More
Thank
please.
you.
I attended and it was a variety of ages. It was like, we had people in their 70s and we had people that were in their, 20s at these. So it was a variety of ages, and it was really cool to see people connecting with each other of, just different generations. So.
Wow.
Addie, you had something.
I agree with Misty. That was one of my big takeaways and observations too. Everybody wants to talk about sex, and there aren't a lot of opportunities to come together in an inclusive, safe space to do that for communities. So it was wonderful to be able to be a part of that conversation and listen in and kind of have those takeaways. But Amanda, to your future ideas, thank you. First of all, I don't even want to say anything after you because you just mic dropped this presentation, but what I wanted to say to you about your future ideas is that I really appreciate that you're thinking in terms of connecting this to youth as well. And we had something similar a long time ago at the Logan Library where we partnered with Planned Parenthood. But what we discovered in that process when we were offering some of these opportunities was that there was a gap in some of our charter schools, and they noticed that we were hosting these programs for youth and, in the public setting, and then connected with us. And then we were able to provide that education and those connections to those charter schools. So definitely kudos to you for recognizing and identifying that gap and bringing more of those these resources into community, because it's very, very much needed. And sign me up to work with you on these the next steps for growing the birds and the bees.
Thank you.
Thank you very much again, Amanda. Again, just holding space for this topic and for everyone to come together and to learn about it. And I'm thinking of how, different cultures, some things aren't always talked about, or people are embarrassed, or, why should it be an elephant in the room? So thank you for making it, educational and inspiring and fun and community and all of the great things we know about our library programming. But wow. I was just, wow, the chat was blowing up. So
yeah.
Props to you. And again, to all of our library programming team. This is what you guys do all the time. It's what makes us so excited to be here. Incredible. I'll see Misty every time you get us. It's like
every time. It also fits in. We have a partnership with our circuit partners, so UCSD, USD, CSU, and then the County Library on Health and Misinformation. And so this fits in perfectly with that. So it's really exciting.
good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you, Amanda. And speaking of rock stars, we have Addie and Oscar following. I mean, my goodness, dream team. Take it away. Programming updates.
I don't want to follow after Amanda, but I am very excited to bring to you, instead of a PowerPoint today, I really just want to share the website for our Black History Month programs that are launching this month. We're already February 1st. I keep forgetting we're just moving along in this year. But what I wanted to say is I'm going to take this opportunity to highlight what's coming down the line for our cultural programming for all ages. So I'm going to share my screen for the webpage and hope that you can see it. Can you all see the page? Yes, fantastic. So Black History Month programs this year are really being hosted for all ages. I wanted to point you to the page. I'll put the link in the comments when I'm done, so you can take a closer look. But this is a series of programs that are happening, and we had some wonderful media coverage just this morning on some of these events that are coming up. But there's a Black History Month contest for students, grades 4 to 12. This is Creative Works contest with some cash prizes in collaboration with the Friends of the Malcolm X Library. But students from throughout the city can participate. This is just being sponsored by the Friends of Malcolm X. This is the second year we host this contest, and we're really looking at diving into culture and celebrating Black history, but doing that creatively through raps, essay, poetry, art, any type of creative work that students want to be inspired by. Then this is going to be a partnership, the one that's coming. And can you see when I'm scrolling through the page? Yes. Yes. Can you see me scrolling through the page as I go down? Okay.
We can see it. We can see
Yes,
it.
perfect. Okay, thank you all. Sorry. Some of the featured programs. So the Human Book Experience is a new partnership that we connected with the Black LGBTQ Coalition of San Diego. And this is really embracing our intersections and centering the stories of our queer Black community. So that is taking place on February 11th from 3 to 5:30 at the Malcolm X Library. And the participants will be able to have a celebration around queer joy and Black joy, but also check out Human Books that have different experiences in San Diego. So we have a lot of wonderful folks from community participating as books, similar, kind of taking away from that the human library, but then kind of making it more specific to the celebration and the intersections. Then I think Oscar's going to talk about this one, but our partnership with USD is continuing for our author for Red Lip Theology. I'll let Oscar speak more on that, but that is happening Monday, February 27th here at the Central Library, the author talk from 12 to 2 p.m. We have numerous story times crafts throughout the library system, and lecture and discussion series for Black history, provoking lectures and discussions on elevating Black voices within the arts, and then equity for Afro-descendants. So equity, arts, and intersections, Black voices, that's happening February 9th at the Central Library. The African-American artists and art history at the end of February 28th, 12:30 at the University Community Library, and then the conversation of Afro-descendants in Nazi Germany, February 28th at the Central Library. And continuing from lecture and discussions, we have various film screenings. So we have the Pacific Beach Library, Logan Library, and Central Library featuring various films connected to Black heritage, culture, history. And we have an open mic night also focused around that, Wikipedia Editathon to be more inclusive in Wikipedia. And we've seen a lot of, editathons for different communities. So this one's going to focus on Black history and kind of editing those Wikipedia entries, and of course, book club discussions as well. This is a quick kind of overview of this is just a little, snippet of some of the art and the displays that are at our libraries, and then multiple resources and multiple books. I know we have a lot of these. I really appreciate that this one where it's world languages and Black history, and again, kind of embracing some of those intersections. But again, continuing with activism, what is happening in our communities, and a lot of books to inform a lot of various age groups, basically concentrating on whatever topics or interests that they might have. I also want to do a little plug for the All About Girls of Color podcast that just launched. That's a collective here in San Diego, creating opportunities for girls of color to thrive. And the library is going to have a whole episode on that podcast launching very soon. So the episodes will be launching every week, but it's so great to have the library as part of that collective and the work that's happening in community for girls of color. So that is what I have for you today. And a snapshot, I'll stop sharing. happy to take any questions, and I will put the website link so you can take a deeper dive.
Wow, thank you, Addie. I am just amazed. I mean, like I'm always amazed, but just the resources and the programming and I mean, it's like, let's just leave our day jobs and just go from library to library, taking all of this in. The book resources, I mean, just incredible, incredible. Such an important month and reflection and time to learn. Thank you for sharing that. And it's just a reminder for me what wonderful resources there are on the website and all of the great work that library staff is doing to bring these forward. Just above and beyond. Incredible. Thank you.
I am
Addie.
very proud of this is all our staff and their work,
Amazing.
and I'm just so proud of everything that they're putting forth and continue to put forth.
I'm going to go back and look at all those book resource lists. I was like, oh, I read that one, read that one. It's going to screenshot it. I'm like, no, I'll just go back later and spend some time in that whole section. So really incredible. Thank you, Addie. Great, great presentation. Any questions for Addie? And you can always follow. Addie is wonderful. She never has to worry about following anyone or going after because you are a great presenter in and of yourself. And thank you for reflecting the great work of the staff at the library. So, okay, Oscar, take it away. Oh, we saw
Sorry,
your
guys, bear with me one quick
screen.
second. Okay, there we go. So first up, I want to just talk about our gallery opening. It's happening this Saturday. So if you do not already have plans for Saturday night, this is a very cool opening. It's called Lost in Translation. It's one of our after hours programs. So it's open when the rest of the library is closed. It'll be from 6 to 8 this Saturday. And it's such a cool concept. You know, you have someone have a physical piece of art that someone translates into print, into words, and then someone takes those words and creates art from that. And none of the artists have seen this game of telephone until the reveal at the opening on Saturday. So it will be new for all the artists as well as us. So please catch that this Saturday. If you can't this Saturday, it's going to be running through April. So come on by the 9th floor. But Bonnie puts on a great show, y'all. So hopefully y'all can make it to the opening. We also have, as Addie mentioned, our annual partnership with University of San Diego for our Black History Month author. And this year it is Candace Marie Benbow, and she's going to be talking about her womanist experience and her womanist theology and what it felt like to move through theological spaces as a feminist. And so it's an absolutely wonderful read. Pick the book up here at the library. We'll be doing the event here at Central from 12 to 2, and then we'll all be going over to the University of San Diego for their event that evening as well. There's the link there if you'd like to register for it. And we're also, I want to mention, we're going to be launching our patron satisfaction survey. This is an annual survey that we push out to the community. We're going to be pushing this out in March, and I'm really going to be asking for your help with this. So we'll be communicating this out via email and asking y'all to share the link, share the QR code. And for the first time, we're going to have this survey translated into 7 different languages. We typically had only done this in English and Spanish, but because of a new resource we have in the city, it'll be translated into the top 7 languages in San Diego. And so we'll be pushing this out as well. So if you can help us with that, Patrick, I'll be reaching out to you and the foundation, and Anne and Joan, I'll be asking y'all to help us share it with all the friends groups. And really, we want to see the most robust response we can this year. Coming out of the pandemic, we really want to get the most feedback we can from the community. And that is everything that I have. But if folks have questions, that is my contact info as always. Thank you so much.
I love the phone. I love the phone. Oh, great stuff, Oscar. Thank you. And how fun does Friday night sound? 1, that it's after hours, and 2, how, again, incredibly clever, fun, artistic, creative, unusual, out of the box. And also super thrilled just from an equity standpoint about the survey in 7 languages. So that's fine. Help me for my own understanding. I think I can guess the 7, but I'm not sure that I don't want to assume what I don't know. Can you share the 7?
Yeah, let me grab the list real quick.
Okay.
They are Arabic, Chinese, Korean, Persian, Somali, Spanish, Filipino, and Vietnamese.
Had them all but Somali. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really, that's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Any questions for Oscar? My goodness, I don't even want to have commissioner comment after all of those great presentations. Everything was phenomenal, but I will welcome commissioner comment. Any commissioner comment or questions? What a great meeting, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time. Is there any other business? And if not, before we adjourn, I just want to remind everyone that our March 1st meeting, we will be back in person. And if you haven't been with us, that's at the Central Library, Sullivan Commissioner Room, 9th floor. It's a lot of fun. Just allow yourself enough time to park and ride the elevator and get lost in the library and do all sorts of fun things. But as I understand it, and Misty or Trisha, you could jump in. I know part of the emergency order has ended with the city, right? So we need to be back in person. And I'm still trying to, with the other commission I'm on, figure out what the limitations are in terms of people Zooming, but I believe people like attendees can still Zoom in. Yes, Misty, or I know we're figuring that out. I'm not sure I know the answer, but I know we are in person.
Yeah, we are in person. We're figuring it out. They were kind of letting us do what we, felt like we're going to just be in person. If we do see a need maybe in the future to allow attendees to attend virtually, then we'll look at that option, but we're going to go back to just in person. So.
Excellent.
And yes, you are correct, Wendy. It is because the COVID emergency declaration has ended.
And it's really fun to see people in person because people say, oh, you're shorter in person. I say, great. Yes, I am vertically challenged. Better than saying you're older in person, but older could also be better. I mean, it's all good. Any questions? Okay. Yes, Shauna.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the in-person. So yeah, if that creates a limitation, who should we be contacting? Wendy or Misty?
But you can send an email. Yes, you can send an email to both of us. Yeah,
to both of us, please. Thank you. Yeah, I know we're looking at that from other meetings too, saying I know for a lot of people it works because it is Zoom, but it's beyond the scope of what Misty and I can control. That we must return to.
Trust me, we tried. We tried to keep it hybrid, but yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you everyone for your time. Thank you again to the great work of our library staff. We really appreciate you. Thank you to our foundation, to our friends, to all of you, our commissioners, for taking time out of your day jobs to volunteer with the library. It's really important. Hi, Bob Kronk. Good to see you. Don't forget reminders. You can go online and sign up for some of the library master plan, listening to our feedback. Lots of incredible library events happening. Check out the website for that. If you're interested in being a judge for the short stories, lots of great opportunities to plug in. And if I still have my foundation hat on, I would say, feel free to make a donation, something like that. That's okay. I can keep my day job, right, Patrick? Retired foundation board member. Thank you, all of you. Have a great afternoon, and we will see you March 1st, if not before then. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.